What's up, no coders? In this week's video, we're going to talk about what am I talking about this week's video. I release videos once every 4 to 6 weeks. So in this month's video, we're going to talk about how to build out an e-commerce store using Softr. And we're going to start with a very basic beginner store. Then we'll move on to a more intermediate type situation where you might have more than a handful of products. And then finally, we're going to move on to the advanced version, complete with cart and checkout. So yeah, look, there's a lot here. Let's get going, let's get building. Okay, so in the first section we're going to show you how you can build an e-commerce store completely for free and completely using no-code tools. You can probably build this store in a matter of minutes. Obviously we've created a very basic example store here. We've got some very creative products. So we're selling 3 different types of t-shirts, and the user can buy any of these t-shirts by clicking through the store page here. What is powering this is Stripe payment links. Stripe payment links is the first major move into the no-code realm that Stripe has taken, and it was launched only earlier this year in 2021. So it's definitely an exciting development, and it's definitely an indicator of more things to come down the line as a lot of these payment processors such as Stripe or Square start to realize the opportunity represented by the no-code movement and how they could tap into a much larger marketplace, I suppose. Anyway, if we jump over into Stripe, will be this first step in building out a store just like this. So if you're a business and you only have a handful of services or a handful of physical products, this is probably a perfect solution for you. Very straightforward, very easy, and as mentioned, it's completely free, as you'll be able to use the free tier on all of the no-code tools that we're talking about here to achieve this. So the first step would be to come into Stripe. Obviously register if you don't already have an account. Stripe don't have a monthly subscription, so don't worry about that. I'm in test mode here. It just, whenever you're building out something, it's probably sensible to do it in test mode, so that you can put in dummy information and just check that it's working. Anyway, first things first, you'll need to add a product. So for each product or service that you have, you'd come in here and click add a product. I've added 3 example products already, and it's as simple as clicking add a product, entering the name of the product, adding in a thumbnail picture and setting the price. And then the key thing really is when you have your product set up, you can come down here to the pricing part, and it will allow you to generate a payment link here. So the idea of a payment link is it basically is a link. It's a URL that you can put anywhere. So you can put it into a text, into an email, or into an Airtable base like we are going to do today. And once it's inside of your Airtable base, you can then use a front end like Softr to present that visually in quite a visually appealing way, so that you have a highly functional e-commerce store up and running in a matter of minutes. So if we jump into the Airtable base, this is a very, very simple base. We've got 3 tables. Obviously, in any e-commerce type transaction, you're going to have a customer, you're going to have a product, and you're going to have an order, right? This is the products table, and I'll just scroll across here so that you can see the various different fields that we have. That's obviously linking it to the orders tab. I've gone on further to link this or integrate this with Printful, so that the store is fully automated. When an order comes in, it'll automatically go to Printful, and Printful is a fulfillment t-shirt center, which will then actually fulfill the order. So it is, you're sort of building the infrastructure here for a fully automated e-commerce store. And I suppose that's the real advantage of using the likes of an Airtable, which is effectively at the core of most no-code projects today. Okay, so that's a general view of the base, and I suppose then each of these records are visually presented using Softr. And when you come here, this is as simple a Softr site as you're really going to get. This is a list block. If you've watched any of our other videos, we've got good tutorials on how to create, from beginner to advanced web pages using Softr. And so if you're not familiar with Softr or you've never used it before, I definitely recommend that you look back on our earlier videos, as to get to this point, it's really just adding a list block from the blocks field here, and then configuring that list block over here on the right, so that it links back to our products table, which is the table we just looked at in Airtable. And essentially all we want on our list cards is we want the product image, which is coming from here, and then we want the button to direct us to the product page, and we also have a button that opens directly to the payment link. So if we jump on into the thing, that's obviously directing to the payment link field here inside of Airtable, which is the payment link that we got from creating our products in Stripe, and we have simply pasted it in here. So if I come in here now and we hit publish on our app, and I'm now over at emoji.softr.app, which is the site I've created for this. And if we go home for a second here and we'll just walk through, this is a very basic shop. Click in, okay, we're at the storefront here. Now, I don't know if anybody would actually be encouraged to buy a product like this, but if we hit let's go, it brings me to the product page here, and then if I want to buy now, I click that, and this is what is linking to our Stripe checkout payment link URL. So this is what your checkout screen will look like. This is all hosted in Stripe, and it lets you configure how many of the product you would like. Simply fill out your information, and when the order is complete, let's try a dummy one here. We'll go Hulk@Hogan.ie. We will call him Hulk Hogan. He is in Ireland, and it's Hulk@Wrestler.ie. All right. We'll fill in some other dummy information here. WrestleMania, Townland, The Cage, City, Dublin, County, Dublin, and air code. We'll just put in some dummy information there, and as I'm in test mode in my Stripe account, you can put in the classic test data of 4242424242. Make sure that your expiry date is in the future at some point, and put in a CVC code, and then if we hit pay, say no thank you to that, I don't want to save my details. And that has now gone through as an order. And if I go into my Stripe account, and if I go to payments, you will see that my order here from Hulk Hogan has just been processed. And I have it set up so that the next step, it actually brings in the order here into my Airtable base, and I can now fulfill that order through Printful by hitting the fulfill order button here. We can show you that in a future video as we build out our t-shirt e-commerce store together. So that's really it in terms of Stripe payment links. In the next part of this video, we're going to show you how to use Stripe invoicing rather than using Stripe payment links. And the reason you might want to use Stripe invoicing versus Stripe payment links is, if you remember where we came here and the first step was products, and you had to come in and manually create your products, that's obviously not the most efficient thing to do if you have more than sort of a few products. So it's very easy, particularly with say a t-shirt type store, or generally any e-commerce store, you're probably going to have in the hundreds of products, and you're going to want a little bit more flexibility, particularly where all of those products might have different variants in terms of size and color, and where they might have different price points. So that's where we've come up with a no-code workaround, or a no-code way to use Stripe, and it's using Stripe invoice payment links rather than using this out of the package no code payment link option that's currently provided by Stripe. Now obviously The word on the no-code street is that there will be much more automation potential for the product, for the payment links down the line, and definitely looking forward to that. I can already see that there's a products and price beta available in Stripe, and I think that is where the future will lie in terms of being able to automatically create your products, whether it's from your Airtable base or whether it's just through direct use of an API by using Integromat or something like that. And so that's definitely something that we're all keeping a keen eye out for. But in the meantime, we have quite a good solution in terms of how to use Stripe invoicing and how to really upgrade your e-commerce capability in Softr and Airtable, integrating with Stripe invoicing. So if you'll bear with me, I'll swap over to that just now. Okay, so we have a slightly different store here, obviously design very similar, rebranded from emoji shirt to no code shirt, and this is what we're going to be building out over the next few minutes. So we have 6 designs here, obviously inspired by no code tools, and I suppose users can choose the design as a starting point. So if we choose a no-code.ie shirt here, and now in this store, it allows people to actually select the size and the color. And we're now down to the item that the user would like to buy. We have add to cart functionality, which we will show you in the next part, in the advanced part of this series, how we've built this into our Softr e-commerce store. But for this portion of the video, we're going to show you how in a store where you have more than 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9 products, where you've hundreds of products where they all have different prices, how you can dynamically create the Stripe payment page without having to go in and manually create all of the different products inside a Stripe. So effectively what you'll be able to do is load all of your product information, whether it's copy and paste into Airtable or whether it's CSV import into Airtable, and then open up your Softr and create your front end in a matter of minutes, and suddenly you don't have to do all of that configuration. So we hit buy now, we're brought to our checkout screen. This is the product that we're buying. It's a no-code small shirt, and we'll fill this out now with dummy data. So last one was Hulk Hogan, and we might go with the Undertaker this time round, right? I will just go Undertaker at wwe.ie, and Undertaker, he's a pretty big guy, so I reckon he's probably gonna want to go for 85 t-shirts on his first order, which is, in fairness to him, he probably gets through a lot of t-shirts. So shipping address, the Undertaker, he lives underground, and he's down by the ring, and his shipping city is Dublin. All of these characters always seem to live in Dublin, but anyway, and shipping country code is, we'll go with Ireland, if I can find it. I can't. Bear with me now. IE, there we go, Ireland, and postcode, we'll just put in a dummy postcode. So when we click this form on Softr, when we click the form submit button, what we're hoping is that it will take us to the correct Stripe payment page, even though currently there is no Stripe payment link generated for this specific product. Rather, this Softr form is going to send the information over to Stripe, and it's going to say, hey, we want you to create a customer called the Undertaker. We want you to create an invoice item for a no-code shirt, and we want them to buy 85 of those, and the price is going to be dictated in our Airtable base, which we'll jump on into now in a second. And then when all of that is done inside of Stripe automatically for us in the back end, I want you to redirect the user here to the dynamically generated payment link. So that was a bit of a mouthful. Hopefully when we click the button it doesn't take as long, but here we go. Let's see what happens. So we've clicked that. There's a large operation going on in the background that none of us are aware of, and hopefully this will work now for the live demonstration. Okay, it seems to have taken the order, and we're now redirected to our Stripe payment page. And there we go. So the Undertaker is buying €2,125 worth of no-code t-shirts. So definitely not a bad first trading day for shirt.softr.app. And again, just to show you, we have the dummy payment information here. I suppose what's nice about the invoicing hosted page is that it has this summary thing. It's got our no-code shirt small white by 85. The user can actually download a copy of the invoice, which is quite nice as well. But all of this screen here is completely configurable inside of Stripe. So you can have it for, present your branding and what does or does not show here. So we'll complete the order and we'll hit pay now. It's now processing the payment for us, and that is now done, and that's a transaction completed. So that's really what we're about to show you here. If we come into our base, so the first screen you saw on Softr is our designs. So effectively, this screen here is a list block linking to our designs table, and similar enough to the first example with the emoji shirts, it's simply just showing the picture, as in the mock-up picture, which is over here, and then it is also showing a button which is going to bring you to a list details page. And again, as mentioned, if you're not familiar with lists and list details pages, I definitely recommend that you check out our How to Build a Web Page series or How to Build a Client Portal series, as they will get you very quickly up to speed with the basics of using Softr. So if we go to our list details page, it is this color page here, right? So we're on our list details page, and I suppose the way we're using this as our interface is when the user picks a design, what's happening is they're being directed to this list details page, and we then are using this list details page as a way for the user to actually interact with another list block. And the reason for that list block is this t-shirt shop, it has 20 different variants. So it has 20 different types of t-shirts that you can buy, and that's because there are 4 sizes: small, medium, large, extra large, and in each of those sizes there are 5 colors. So for every design choice that someone chooses, that can be printed on one of 20 different t-shirts. And so we've created this junction table inside of Airtable, which in effect is our 120 products being our 6 designs by our 20 variants, okay? And so this is in effect our products page, this junction table here, because this shows a unique record for each available individual unique product that we offer. If you're not doing a t-shirt shop, or if you're just building some other type of e-commerce store, you might not need the complexity of a design and a variance table. You might just simply rename this table to be products rather than junction. But I thought I would show you this today, as it shows you again the very powerful feature inside of Softr, which is conditional filters. So Softr knows to only show, in the example where I walked through and I picked the no code shirt design, Softr then only presented the no code variant. So as in, it only showed me the first 20 t-shirts here inside of our variants table, which is the no code shirt design coupled with the small white shirt, the small black shirt, the small dark heather shirt, etc. Right? So then by using the filters inside of Softr, you can then whittle it down, and it sort of gives a good shopping experience from the point of view of, oh, I'd like a small t-shirt and I'd like a dark heather t-shirt, and it immediately shows you the thumbnail for that particular product, and you're filtered down now to your individual item out of 120 items quite quickly in terms of, what item it is you're looking for. So the way we've achieved that is this page, it's important that you have a list details block on the page, and the reason for that is so that you're able to use the conditional filters function on your actual list block that is up here, right? So this list details block, I've simply again linked it to the designs table, and I've taken just some bits of information to display there. You could alternatively just hide this block if you don't want to show it on your page. But the reason I've put that list details block there is because it now lets me say that I want to only present in this table here, or sorry, in this list here, items where the record ID from designs, which if we jump into the base here, right, and if we hop across, this is the field here, right, the record ID from design. So this is a lookup field, and it is pulling the record ID from the designs tab here, and on the designs tab the record ID is displayed using a formula, and the formula is just simply record ID. Okay, so for anybody that's new enough with Airtable, every record or every row inside of Airtable has a unique record ID, and Softr allows you to use filters using record IDs, and that's why I have presented that information here inside of my base. So if we come back into Softr, so I want to only show t-shirts here where the record ID from designs in my junction or products table here is, and when you click into this, it lets me either choose attributes relating to the logged in user, but in this case it's a non-logged in user, so that's not relevant. But it does also allow me to select attributes relating to the designs table, and the only reason it allows me to choose that option is because I have a list details block here. So that's the critical thing. So if we click the designs thing there, it allows you, these are all the field names from inside of my Airtable base here on the designs table, and if you scroll down, I'm looking for that record ID field, and that's it there. So basically what this is saying is, hi there, when somebody clicks on, we'll go back to the main page here. So when somebody clicks on one of the items in the designs list on the previous page, so let's just say somebody chooses a Softr t-shirt this time, we only want you to present to the user records from the junction table where the record ID from designs, so if we scroll over here, where's it gone? Record ID from designs, which is pulling that information from here, is equal to that. Okay, so in effect, I'm only going to see the records that have this record ID in this field on this table. So I should only see Softr shirts because they have that record ID there. Now I've probably gone into overdrive explaining that there, but it's just to get your head around it, because conditional filters, they're really quite powerful. And again, I'm going to show you how to use these in the next part of this series. It's quite a critical feature in building out your cart and your checkout functionality, where you really have a very comprehensive store whereby users can add multiple different products to the cart and just operate like any other e-commerce store that you'd be probably familiar enough with using. Okay, so if we jump then to the next step, we're here, so I suppose if we follow through on this example, medium, sport, grey. So now we're down to our individual item, and by filtering inside of Softr, you can use these things called inline filters. And I suppose the critical thing is that, again, you're linking it to a field from your Airtable base, and you currently have to key in the parameters that users can filter by, and this needs to match exactly the information that you have in the field that you want to filter by. So you know, I'm filtering here by size and by color, so I've made sure that my options match exactly the options that are available in both of those fields here inside of Airtable. Okay, so now on to the complicated part, I suppose. When the user whittles down to the t-shirt that they are after and they choose buy now, they're directed to basically a checkout page, which is a form. Okay, and the great thing about Softr forms is that you can include hidden fields. So I mean, Airtable forms currently don't have the hidden field ability, and I suppose the use of hidden fields is that you can send information with your form to wherever you have it directed, containing more information than needed to be added by the actual user, right? So in this example, what's happening is we're now passing, this is the t-shirt that we have selected. Well, not necessarily in this scenario, yeah, well, it is the sport grey t-shirt is the one that we've selected. We want, when this form is submitted, that the ID of that specific record, so if we find that particular one, it's sport shirt grey. If we come back in here, Softr shirt grey, if I can just hone in on it, there it is there, right? So basically this is what we are ordering in this example, and we don't want our user to have to type in, you know, hi, this is what I'm buying, or like select from a drop down, this is what I'm buying. They've already landed on that product through a sort of nicer user interface, and we just want that to be a given. So we're able to pass that as a hidden form field inside of the Softr Studio here, and you'll see when you click in here, the hidden field is the ordered product, and I've put this in the description of the video below. This is the copy and paste that you'll need to put in. And again, on this page, this is a list details block. So it allows us to pass the record ID of the list detail item that is currently selected. Okay, so by passing that little snippet in there in the hidden field, it is basically sending the record ID of this particular row here with our form without the user even knowing that that's what's happening. Okay, so basic form then, looking for all the information. This information was gathered based on what was required in the Stripe flow. So when you get into Stripe, it won't allow you to create a customer without an email, and you need at a minimum a shipping address and a shipping city and all of this information before it'll allow you to create an invoice. So that's what's asked for here. You would need this information anyway in a basic e-commerce store for it to function properly. So that's what your checkout is. And the key thing then here is the proceed to payment button is sending all of this information to an Integromat flow. And if you're not familiar with Integromat, you can send any information into an Integromat flow using what's called a webhook. Integromat is very similar to Zapier in that it basically is a no-code tool that lets you link up all of your different tools. And in this scenario, we are using Integromat to link up Softr with Stripe, and then also back from Stripe into Airtable, which consequently is then updating our Softr front end here. So I get this URL from the Integromat flow, okay? And this is what the flow looks like, and I'm not going to spend the next half an hour going through each individual block here and how this works, but what I have done is I have created a resources page on our no-code website. It's free to access, and I've pasted a link to that in the description of the video below, and it looks like this, and it goes through. We have a Loom video there that walks through each and every module and what fields need to go where and what settings you need to set up on the flow. And then it also goes through it step by step here. And as always, if you're confused or if you're stuck on any particular part in the flow, feel free to leave a comment below and we will absolutely come back to you and help you out in whatever way we can. So I hope that has saved you some viewing time, and if you do want to build something like this, or if you just simply want to learn more about how we achieve the functionality that we have here, please do visit that page. Please like this video. Please subscribe to our channel. It's really the new subscribers that is keeping us motivated in creating content like this, and we have plenty more planned for down the line, including, as mentioned, the checkout and empty the cart functionality on the next episode, which I might just give you a little teaser in this particular clip. So if we go to our no code shirt, and when we come here, so say for example I've come in here and I want to buy an Airtable shirt, so I'll go in here and I realize, oh, I just absolutely love this shop and I don't want to just buy that, I want to add that to my cart. So I'm going to add that to cart. And what's happening here is another Integromat flow, and we've used another aspect of Stripe. We've also used some of the very recently released but lesser known functions within Softr itself. And so you'll see here I've got my cart now, right? And I've now decided, okay, I want to buy everybody that I know, I want to buy them a Softr shirt as well. So I'm going to go in here. I've got a few big friends, they're all wrestlers, and I'm going to go for navy, and I'm going to add that one to cart. And now it's going to ask me, well, how many of those do you want to add to the cart? Well, I want 5 of them, and I'll add that to cart. And that should now bring me back to my main page. And if I go down to my cart here, I now have all of the items that I have in my cart. Also, you've probably seen Softr has some edit functionality which has been released recently. So again, very useful for something like this. You can come in here and you can edit, you can remove something from the cart, you can change the quantity, etc. You'll see here it's automatically calculating the price. And now this particular user might want to check out, so they will go to the checkout page here. And again, very similar to the last example, except this time when we've clicked through the flow, it should include all of the items that we've added to our cart, and we'll go through that step here. So let me go with an example of Tom at jerry.ie, Tom Jerry ice cream, freezing point, Dublin, and they are in Ireland for some reason as well, with Hulk Hogan and the Undertaker fella, and put in some dummy postcode there. And this flow was slightly different, but it is doing all of the same logic that we've shown you in the Integromat flow. If you go to our resources page, it's working in the background there. And it's now brought me to my checkout page, which is €200. If we view the invoice details, it's got everything from the cart that we had added, and it's automatically come up with the price and everything else, and we can pay for that. And all of that is being updated here inside of our Airtable base, which means that you can automatically present all of that information inside of your Softr frontend. Okay, so that's the teaser clip for the next tutorial. I hope you got some value out of today's video. As usual, please, I've already said it, but please like and please subscribe to the channel. And look, thanks for sticking with me to the end. I really enjoyed building this out, and as always, would love to hear what you're building yourself. And yeah, look, thanks for watching. Bye bye.